Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you happen to be in the world, and welcome to another scene from the living world of darkness, Rage Across New York. Today's scene is set in the Sept of the Green, around the cabin that has been taken over by the Seekers. Now, we're not gonna start inside the cabin per se. In fact, 10 Point is rarely allowed inside, usually as a reward for exceptional behaviors or tasks or accomplishments. So we'll say at this point it's still a bit early for her Twilight Howl, or her Twilight Song. So she is in residence, lingering outside, keeping near to the porch, though vacating it anytime one of the kin or pack mates emerges from the cabin. Probably settled down at the base of the stairs, and just generally keeping an ear out, staying aware of what's going on in the area, what's going on in the cabin, and generally keeping a little close today, just because, well, they've got a guest, and what if he needs something? She's not sure what he could possibly need from her, but perhaps if he happens to come out, she's gotten some notions, some ideas. So she just kind of hunkers there.
After about 15 minutes, Aiden comes out washing his hair, like still with a towel in shorts and a bathrobe. He's looking quite, like bamboozled with himself. He's like, this is really nice. And, eating pieces of meat. He kind of like leans against the porch to light a cigarette and looks over and sees 10 Point and actually smiles to himself and kind of like looks at her and just kind of like, just with the nod of the head, kind of inclining just to come over here, basically.
And of course, anyone emerging means immediate attention shift, because can't go ignoring packmates or kin potentially sent by packmates. So, the door opens and he comes on out and gets comfortable. And 10 Point has canted her head around. She's got her ears pitched back to where, not slicked down, but in fact swiveled around so that she can hear the slightest the slightest word from Aiden, and with her head canted around, will catch the gesture. For all that she still isn't looking up at head level, peripheral vision is a beautiful, beautiful thing. So, given the kind of beckoning nod, she'll promptly go ahead and rouse herself up in all of her grand bulk there, and go ahead and not stand to walk up the steps, but kind of slink up them and perch again. Not just at the top, but probably right about where, if Aiden really wanted to reach out, he could touch her. But right at that like edge line between being in reach and out.
Just nods. 10 Point.
Good afternoon, Yaf.
Yeah, he kind of just looks, a lot more relieved probably than the last time she's seen him. The bags under his eyes are not there. It is. He kind of just nods. But I wanted to talk to you about something, actually, in terms of you being, Theurge and all that. I got some info for you.
She perks a bit and is lifting her gaze again, not quite up to looking at the face directly, but more keyed in, more attentive, ears pricked. What can I do for you, Yaf?
He kind of taps his head almost playfully. I still have a link. So I've heard from Willem that place we investigated to upstate, the spirits are covered in oil, the animal spirits, begging us for help, and the oil is killing them.
She knits her brow. Did he see this personally, or was this a vision of a potential future?
Personally, he went there via Umbra route and was jumped there, actually, from what he was saying. Basically, the spirits of wherever, let me think, as he just thinks, spirits of glade, deer, birds, and many other forest spirits are all covered in oil.
She continues to look deeply perplexed, kind of does that thing where you drop your gaze to kind of comb your brain.
Now, they didn't see any natural water sources, but however, the spirits showed them the oil drills, like we saw the other time. So obviously the oil drills are having an effect.
They haven't even broken ground yet, Yef. They won't do so for over a moon cycle.
So something must be going on up there. That thing is mobile, so maybe it's moving around, you see? I don't know. Something's
Is he sure that this was not a vivid dream, Yef? I have had similar nightmares and visions, but they are of what could be, not necessarily what is now.
Let me think. As he sits back and leans back, thinking. He mentioned a dream realm, but it jumped him straight from the Umbra. So he's basically, I think he went into a dream realm by the looks of things.
And she gives a slow nod and eases up a little on like that tense little knit of brow. Yes, this is almost inevitably what will happen if we fail. But this is why it is so important that the pack works together, grabs the appropriate allies, and tends to this before it can come to pass.
Just nods. Well, I think I'm having them look into a couple of things of the company-wise. I know Tapeza is good friends with a lawyer and see what we can find in terms of delaying it. That can sometimes be the best option, but we'll see what we can do. Wormfuss set him to work with you guys, so I'm following Banshee's lead.
I believe that Public Enemy Raya has perhaps learned things about the company. Tapisa could perhaps speak with her.
I mentioned it. Smiles, tapping his head.
And she'll continue to muddle over the whole thing. There's that. Perhaps he will respond better if he believes that you are saying it, Yuff. But does William Yuff not have kinfolk?
He does.
Good. The kin of the children of Gaia are often very good for this. I have seen or heard in the past that when a place was meant to be drilled in, many of the local people came and protested, and it was put off for a long time and taken to human courts and fought over and stalled and delayed. Do you think perhaps he could speak to his kinfolk about doing a similar thing here?
That was my thinking as well. Him and Tapeza have those kinfolk connected in those organizations. So I basically told them, reach out, see what you can find. Cast a net, basically. I was going to meet with Teresa myself. I know the basics of engineering. And if we can some way sabotage the drill, that'll drain the company of money as well.
Yes.
That gear looked expensive, like.
It did. And perhaps Felix Yuff can also be involved in, if they are so advanced, then there should be many net spiders involved, and I am sure he can influence them as well, whether or not they are physically damaged.
The more Glasswalkers, the better, probably. He just nods.
The hope, though, is that we act in such a way that it prevents them from even putting the drills in place.
Exactly. So use every method. We'll see what we can reach out. Another thing, probably going to have to talk to Banshee about this. William White is wanting to introduce himself to this pack.
He has claimed in the past that he would look forward to doing so when we first met, Yuff. I have warned them as best I was able, but surely you know more than I do.
Oh, I tried to warn him, but smiles. He doesn't take kindly to warnings.
If he is ignorant enough to earn the ire of my pack mates, that is on him. Yuff, with all due respect. More so, I spoke to my packmates on his proclivities so that perhaps they could address him in the most beneficial fashion, whether that is to distract or to enrage or to pacify.
It's not sound strategy. I advised him just to, well, not make it a point to, well, he kind of gestures at her. He cares a lot about your kind. So I tried to advise him not to bring that issue up or get enraged of certain actions that Balin Yaf needs to take. But Ragabash's advice always falls on deaf ears when most children are guys. He shakes his head.
The lessons of the Ragabash are often less direct than advice, or at least less blunt than advice. Yes. It will take, I am sure, a trick or a trap in order to force him to acknowledge that you are right.
Oh, aye, but then I'll be just a Fianna in his eyes. He smiles.
Perhaps, Yef, if he is so ignorant, then it is better to be just a Fianna in his eyes.
He just nods. Yeah, I understand the things. In a way, yeah.
I know that... Apologies.
No, you go first. You just nod.
I know that William Yuff cares and believes that what he is doing is helping. And I have spoken to him on it, and he has blatantly confessed that for all that he wants to help his packmate, he has used her to make a point and is only perpetuating the thing he hates.
He used you to make a point if you think about it as well.
She kind of blinks for a second.
Do you think that bow was given to you magically?
And yeah, there are expressions that happen.
I warned him. After I found out about it, I tried to warn him. But hey, how does that make you feel then that he used you and basically, in a way, forced your pack to, well, do the things they did?
My packmates acted as was just.
Oh, I'm not saying they weren't. I'm just saying.
If I had known that the bow was being given by a guru's hand and not by the spirits themselves, I would never have used it. Yeah.
William White likes to play tricks. That incident with the whole fake gifts, that was his doing. It's unusual for an Arunai, but I think he thinks it'll make a point. It'd be just something to watch out for, if I were you. For your own sake. So you don't dishonor your pack any further.
He has made a fine point, and I await the Stone of Scorn. And she flicks open her swag and delves a giant paw in there very carefully and somewhat gingerly plucks out the bow. It's unstrung. And will just set it on the porch alongside Aiden, not necessarily expecting him to take it straight from her hand.
Raises an eyebrow at her.
Because of this, and because of his helping, I have broken the litany, and I have humiliated my beta. Perhaps he should, when he feels the urge to help, simply not. Or consult a Philodox. Or consult any properly raised guru.
And he just nods. But he isn't a properly raised guru. And his way is the only way. which I find hilariously hypocritical.
She gives her big head kind of a bit of a shake, as if just to shake that thought off in general. And of course, there's the kind of ding, 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 ding. But
he actually pulled his arms. Have you seen the trouble out in the castle yet?
No.
Everyone's getting tense. Very tense. That howl, basically, the Fianna are now thinking our kinfolk are being threatened.
That is because they are, yes.
Oh, yeah, I had to relax a couple of Aroons who were maybe thinking of doing something stupid.
Good, good. I can only imagine how the Alpha might react if actual battles were to break out within the Sept.
Exactly. So, probably best for you as well, seeing as you're a Fianna, but you're also on Metis. Probably to avoid the castle for a while. It's tense over there.
Of course, yes. I will take your advice.
And if you see any kinfolk being hassled, probably report it to myself, Balian, or Banshee. Because, yes, the deed was wrong, but we can't let the fucking Wendigo fucking target our kinfolk or any of the other pure tribes.
Of course, yes.
I was wondering, do you want to visit that family with me? 10 Point.
If you think it would be prudent, yes, I will happily accompany you.
I think it would be. I think it'd be a lesson for you, and well, it's always nice to have a backup on these things.
Oh, yeah.
Hold on a second. All right, apologies. We had to divvy out food.
It's okay. It's okay.
So yeah, she'll nod, and yeah, just generally agree with each point.
If you wish, your beta could come along. I'd be happy to have a Philodox. Philodox is often scare people into telling the truth. I find he actually smiles wickedly.
I am sure he would be more than eager to set things to right among the kin. He may not be Fianna himself, but he has lived among us long enough to appreciate the value of family, the value of our kinfolk. We can't afford to have them doing anything foolish, yuff, and putting themselves at risk.
Nods. Will be a good decision. If he can be available. If not, I don't mind going myself. I have a way with people. He kind of just grins, shaking his head. You know?
And she'll duck her head a bit to kind of hide a grin, just because yeah, Aiden definitely he's got a way.
But this pack place is nice. It just says absent-mindedly. Not used to comfort like this.
You're not.
Not really, no. I wasn't born on a sept. I wasn't born like that. I was born in human surroundings, and we weren't very rich. So, not used to rich things.
You could become accustomed to them, if you wish to.
Smiles to himself. It would be nice to have a few money, aye. kind of just looks down at the robe he's wearing. It's like, it's so fancy. You know what I mean?
Should you decide, Yef, that you mean to stay, she starts kind of not nervously, but kind of awkwardly, like patting at her swag and flicks it open, and again is very carefully putting her giant paw in there. Like it has to be funny to see like a war form be so ginger. Like she puts her paw in very slowly, and you can see that she very carefully like pinches something to retrieve it out, and comes out with essentially a mid-sized drawstring bag. It's being kind of distorted to where you can tell there's like a little CD case in there, and she will pull out this bag and then offer it very very deferentially to Aiden, as though presenting him with some kind of gift. Perhaps I could offer you a way to find yourself further in my beta's good graces. Yuff.
Raises an eyebrow. Oh. What's that?
The day that he smashed his phone, Yuff, I was able to find the card. And I was able to bargain with Public Enemy Raya that she would transfer the valuable information on it into other items for him so that they could be kept close even when his phone was not at hand.
Huh.
And so that if one
Thank you,
were
Wayne.
destroyed, there would be more. I've also bargained for her discretion on the matter.
I mean, that will keep him happy, aye. A man who's lost that much deserves to have some memory of it, like.
He does. And I am sure that were you to give him such a thing, you would be as good as gold in his eyes. Yuff.
It's a good suggestion. I think I might take you up on that. And he'll very tenderly take the bag, like very gently.
Yep. And whether he looks at it now or later, it's, yeah, there's obviously a probably like a DVD that's been recorded with the video. There is also a thumb drive that has the file on it and the original SIM card in the bag.
Nod. Tell you what, I'll go get dressed and go see these fucking family. I'll get it all sorted with. So when we get back, we look good for everybody. And you kind of will smile-ish, not looking directly at her, more like looking, I'm going to look above and around her, but not in her general area.
And again, she'll bow her head, and seeing as he's talking about getting up and moving around, she'll preempt a bit and go ahead and, I mean, it's not quite as awkward as a scuttle, but she definitely kind of slinks out of his way to where he can readily get to the door without having to brush past her.
He does, and just nods. All right, be back in a while. And he just stares at the robe like, so fucking fancy. You hear under his breath as he's opening the door. And he will head in and get changed.
And she will wait loyally and attentively on the porch. Do you want to call it there and then snag an ST for the
Yeah.
the shenanigans?
Yeah, sure. I think that's the perfect place.
Oh, very well. Then with this exchange of information and perhaps closure, perhaps some gifts and potential favor, we will say thank you, players, for playing and watchers for watching. And we'll see you next time on the Living World of Darkness, Fianna edition.